What's up, Paleo Dudes? That's your new name. That's the new name for the listeners of the show Paleo Bites. I think it's great. Anyways, I got a Patreon at patreon.com/Matthew Donald. There you'll find bonus content for the Ritwit and Paleo Bites, my two podcasts, my two lovely podcasts. And for the Paleo Bites stuff, we discuss pop culture featuring prehistoric animals. And this month we're talking about the Velocipaster. This is a real movie, I swear to God. Most of the budget went to the poster. Look at the poster, it's freaking badass. But the movie itself is just... Oh, it's great, though. We have a good time. We talk about this ridiculous movie about a pastor that turns into a velociraptor. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's a good movie. It should sweep all the Oscars this year. I mean, what else came out this year? Link is in the description for where you can find the Patreon. Thank you for your support, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful year. I mean, this year was terrible, but it's nearly 2021. We're nearly there, guys. Come on. We can do it. We're so close. Or it already is 2021, because I'm going to put these in episodes that came out at 2021, too. So we're either nearly there or we're already there. Either way, 2020 is behind us. Thank God.
Roar. Growl, snarl, bellow.
Welcome to Paleo Bites, the podcast with all the answers about paleontology, or at least some of the more entertaining ones. My name is Matt Donald, and each week I and a rotating series of guest co-hosts talk about and rate a genus of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. Although this one's not really an animal, but we'll get to it. This month I'm joined by my dear sister, and who's here visiting a baby that my other sister had.
I thought you were going to say like some random baby.
Yes, this baby they found on the street.
Matt's niece.
Yes.
My niece as well.
Yes.
Logan.
Jennifer Grossman, a.k.a. Blake. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a nice day. It just snowed recently. We're recording this.
Crazy.
We're recording this in September, but it's probably come out way later. I record these way in advance. This will probably be out based on the one I have here.
But yeah, it snowed the first week of September, which...
1/26/21 is when I'm planning on this coming out.
So the middle of winter.
Yeah. But here in September, we got a really early snow.
And now it's back to 80 degrees.
Yeah, but it cooled down a little thanks to the snow, so that's good at least. But okay, so I'd like to open up the podcast by asking my co-host like a dinosaur-related question. And so
Okay.
Just something random. I know you really like Jurassic Park, especially particularly the first one.
Yes.
So what is your favorite piece of dinosaur media that's not Jurassic Park?
Piece of dinosaur media?
Yeah, just something that features dinosaurs in it.
You know what I love?
Yeah. What?
Do you even remember this? When you were a kid, we had this choose your own adventure book that was...
yes, the time travel one.
Yes, I loved that.
Yeah, that one was good. I remember that. And unlike other choose your own adventure books, though, sometimes in those you could make the wrong decision and you'd die. But this one you couldn't. You would just go in a loop, I think, if you were in the wrong path, or you had to be...
there was something where the other choose your own adventures are kind of lame. You end up dying a lot. You just get to a dead end. But this one somehow was like a puzzle because
you had to collect stuff. Yeah, that's right. And get evidence, yeah.
But it was so good. It was like the best choose your own adventure book ever. And it sort of was educational about dinosaurs.
Sort of.
There was something about an Archaeopteryx.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And I remember there was one instance where they mentioned Dimetrodon was an amphibian, which is not true.
But I learned almost everything I know about dinosaurs from that choose your own adventure book.
They're pretty good. I like those. Yeah, the time travel ones. I remember reading that one. There was a couple about dinosaurs. There was one about Atlantis. There was a sub-series of time travel choose your own adventure books. 2 of them were about dinosaurs, some of them about other things. But the dinosaur ones were the coolest ones.
Of course. I wonder why choose your own adventure books went out of style.
I don't know, but in my other podcast, The Ritwit, we talk about not choosing adventure books, we talk about second person. There was one episode where we did the different
types of prose. You know, you got first person, which is, you know, I did this.
Right.
Second person is pretty much exclusive to Choose Your Own Adventure books. It's you did this, you did that. Then there's third person, which is like Bob did this and Bob did that.
Which you have a lot of. You have a lot of third person and first person books.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, second person is very rare.
But Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah, because it's you choosing the adventure, so it makes sense to be you. So.
And also not popular. Second person.
They were for a bit. Well, the Choose Your Own Adventure book, second person wasn't. I've seen a few books that briefly go into second person just for you to get into the shoes of a character. Yeah. So, So I remember this one book. It was a novelization of one of the Star Wars movies when Darth Vader became Darth Vader, and it goes into for second person for a bit at the end. As well as periodically throughout it.
Darth Vader?
Well, yeah, but it's like, this is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker. Like, you're in constant pain. You don't even have lungs anymore. It all just pumps it from tubes in your mechanism. You're more machine. Like, it just goes on. And it really makes you feel more immersed in
the character.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that was a cool use of it, but the whole book is in second person, just those bits. But anyway, so... Today we are talking about an interesting specimen for this show.
Yes, as you said, it's not even an animal.
Not really. It's a bacterial-like single-celled organism.
But it's more of an idea.
Yeah, it's not. We have fossils of this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't even know that it existed.
Right. Well, it had to exist at some point.
I was thinking about this, and not necessarily. Right. What if? And
that all different life forms evolve independently, or
no? I was thinking, what if life originated twice on the planet?
Oh, okay. some of it became one group of organisms, some became another group.
Right.
Possibly.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, we have life on the planet. We don't know that it all originated from one occurrence.
Right. By the way, we're talking about LUCA, the last universal common ancestor.
LUCA. It's an acronym.
Yes, last universal common ancestor.
And so it is what it says it is.
It's a hypothetical organism that was the last ancestor of
all life
every other bit of life on Earth. Plants, animals, fungi, bacteria.
But hypothetical, because we don't know what it is.
Right. But so I still have all these stats for all my episodes I like to go through. So like size, diet, time, location, which it's kind of weird for this one.
Right, but I think an important stat is hypothetical.
Okay, so hypothetical bacterial-like single-celled organism. Size, microscopic. Diet, chemicals, probably from deep-sea vents. Probably. Time, anywhere from the early Hadean to the early Paleoarchean. 4.5 to 3.5 billion years ago.
Oh, wow, and you've got me there. So why do we think that?
I don't know. I just read that on Wikipedia.
We should maybe look at it.
Yeah.
I mean...
I'm looking at it while we're recording. I'm so professional. Okay. Studies from 2000 to 2080, this is from the Wikipedia article, have suggested an increasingly ancient time for LUCA. In 2000, estimated suggests that LUCA appeared 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago in the Paleoarchean era, a few 100 million years before the earliest fossil evidence of life, but then a 2018 study shows that it's shortly after 4.5 billion years ago. Now, what these studies read, I don't know. Right.
So it's way older than the earliest fossil evidence.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
Because, like, there's earliest form of life, there's earliest indisputable time of life, when we know that they're at this time, so...
Which was, like, yesterday, right?
Basically. Location, I have here, somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me.
Right.
I don't know where it is. Other than in the ocean, probably.
Probably, or these vents.
Described 1859 by Charles Darwin when he first proposed the theory of evolution, technically.
That's cool.
Technically not described, this is a conceptual organism, but this is where the concept first surfaced. Pop culture appearances, your 8th grade biology class.
Oh,
So
I don't know if I learned about evolution in 8th grade biology.
I don't know. I didn't go to 8th grade. I was homeschooled from like 3rd grade up till college.
That's right. And I went to the 8th grade in Texas where they weren't comfortable with evolution.
They were like, back in the day, Jesus made all the animals.
Right.
Yeah, I remember talking to a customer back when I was working at Starbucks, and I was talking to them about my Paleobites show. I was telling them I do a podcast. One was about dinosaurs, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's really cool. All the creatures that lived before the flood." And I'm like,
"Oh,
yeah, it was." I just smiled and moved on.
Right. Wonder what they think of LUCA.
they probably it was God's first breath or something.
One thing I don't get is so like if LUCA is the last common ancestor, what was before LUCA?
Other creatures that were also common ancestors, but they didn't.
But they died off?
Yeah. LUCA probably had contemporaries.
LUCA had contemporaries. But we just don't know them anymore because
either none of them survived.
Didn't survive.
Either none of them survived or they evolved. They kept going into organisms that eventually died out with no descendants.
But why isn't Luke, and I know, LUCA's like a bacteria-like thing, so it's not like LUCA's father, but why isn't LUCA's father the last?
Well, because that one's not the last, it's the second to last.
So the last is like...
That's when, I guess, right at the point, at the precipice where they all started splitting apart, that's LUCA.
LUCA, right.
So this is, yeah. whenever mitosis or something happened,
right, was going on.
Yeah,
yes.
that one was going to become this group of creatures, and this one was going to become this group of creatures. Just before it happened, that's LUCA. I don't know.
And how would we know when we found him?
I don't know. That's why it's a conceptual. Again, it's not like we'd have fossils, and if we did, we'd be like, oh, that's just another bacteria.
But if you believe that, life originated from one instance, which I think
this isn't the first instance.
No, absolutely. Right,
yeah.
Right. It's the last universal.
Yes.
So not the first. But, so there must be one, right? Like, there must be a last universal common
ancestor. That's the thing. Unless you bring up, different ones became different pendulum, because I think they don't know exactly what forms life yet, right? But they have sort of an idea that comes from volcanic vents somehow, and there's some sort of...
Just because there's a lot of energy there.
Yeah, and some sort of carbon mixture and
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so...
But that's life on this planet, and that's based on what we have.
Right, and who's to say that didn't happen multiple times on Earth, and some of them never actually branched off together, I don't know. But then you have that one theory that life on Earth didn't actually originate from Earth, but from comets from space that had the life already in it and then slammed into the Earth.
Or what if you had both? What if you had life originating on Earth and then you had some life that originated from comets?
Right. I don't know how I feel about that theory. I mean, it's cool, but I'm like, well, how do we know? Why does it... What's the evidence? I mean, I'd be fine all for that, but what does that really change?
It doesn't really change anything, right? Because then it's just like, well, where did the comet come from?
Right, it just postpones the
if it's
the
an
problem.
Unlikely event on Earth versus an unlikely event on
in a galaxy far away,
and a comet happens to come here, whatever. It's still... We'll actually have better luck studying it if it happened on Earth.
Right.
It's easier to study Earth.
But what I think is funny is that, even looking at just life in general like we have now, I know life is all about branches, but it's also, if you view it as lines, there are certain points where if you're an only child and you decide not to have kids, you are the end of a line that lasts all the way to LUCA.
Yes, I suppose.
I mean, it's a branch. It's not
the great thing, right? And the great thing is, it is a branch, right?
Yeah.
So, there's all this other humanity that shares a lot of your genes,
right?
And
exactly.
So the line matters, but at the same time, really, what you're reproducing when you reproduce is the bulk of your genes,
right?
Because your kids have half your genes, right? So that's a lot.
Most genetics is the same, right? Isn't a lot of
exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't most of genetics unwritten?
Oh, you mean the DNA doesn't code for anything?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
So That's why, like in Jurassic Park, for instance, that famous documentary,
which we both like.
They could use frogs to fill in the gaps because the blank DNA of a frog is theoretically exactly the same
as the blank DNA.
So that's why you didn't have dinosaurs that looked like part frog. So,
right. So in Jurassic Park, which would have ruined the movie.
Yeah, have a hopping T-Rex. It was like just grabbed insects with its tongue.
But yes, most DNA doesn't code for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
and then a lot of DNA doesn't code for proteins. A lot of DNA codes for like regulatory mechanisms and things like that.
Right.
But anyway, like you were saying, even a lot of DNA is the same. Like right. even though your kids would have more of your genes than somebody else's kid.
Right.
Somebody else's kid has like 99%.
Right. Well, don't humans and chimps have like 99% the same DNA?
Right. So humans have. I think it's a kind of cool thing that we share a lot of the same genes.
Right. That is pretty cool.
And the same,
unwritten material kind of.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I'm quoting directly from Wikipedia because I'm a professional. The most commonly accepted tree of life, based on several molecular studies, has its root between a monophyletic domain bacteria and a claim for it by Archaea and Eukaryota.
Yes.
So that's kind of where it all started to split, kind of.
That's LUCA?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Location of the root is what it says.
Yes.
So.
Yes, the root of the tree of life.
Yeah. It's weird. Life is so fascinating, and like they're finding out like if what caused it is so universal. Like surely it must be because life on Earth evolved like right when life on Earth was possible. So if life were rare, you think it would evolve a lot later.
So I've heard that theory before, put a different way, and I guess it's true.
Like that's I don't know. Like I could be wrong, but that just seems interesting to me. Like that.
I can't remember the name of the theory, but they're in physics, right? There are all of these constants, like Planck's constant and all of these things.
Right.
And there's this idea that that the universe only exists because those constants are exactly what they are.
Right.
Like if they were slightly different, the universe wouldn't exist and we wouldn't be here.
I've heard something like that.
Talking about them.
I think it's more
kind
flexible
of the same thing
than
with life, right? Like if you say, well, life on Earth, evolved as soon as it possibly could. Maybe we got lucky. Maybe.
That's true. I guess that maybe that's true. Well, it's just like they think of like...
And everywhere else in the...
Well, there's the Fermi Paradox. I've heard the Fermi Paradox.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so...
And the Drake equation.
Yeah. The Drake equation doesn't make any sense to me because there's no constants in that equation. It's all variables. And that doesn't mean anything then.
That's the point, is that you can... That's the point.
I just don't like it. It could just be anything. It could be anything from 1 to Google, and it wouldn't matter.
Right, and we don't know because we don't know what all those variables are.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But you like the Fermi Paradox?
Yeah, I like the Fermi. I think it's fascinating where it talks about like the different, like one theory is of the Great Barrier, either it's behind us or ahead of us, and I don't know. I don't know what it's like. Humanity doesn't seem like it's doing too great right now. So maybe we only have a couple thousand years left in us.
But isn't a big part of the Fermi Paradox just where'd everybody go?
Yeah, but that's the thing. If the Great Barrier is ahead of us, what if we're about to hit it, and everywhere else on life on Earth, it could get up to this far, and then it just destroys itself. Like, there could be lots and lots of life out there, but we wouldn't know it just because it's all animal-like. Because that doesn't emit, like, a signal.
Right, because it's on many moons far away and they don't.
Yeah, like, if an alien was looking at us and all it could see was dinosaurs, because it was so far, it was either that far ago or whatever, it wouldn't know. I mean, I guess you could figure out by the chemical composition of the atmosphere because of methane and other stuff.
Right. But so, then the whole question is intelligent life.
Yeah.
Life that is going to send radio signals.
Right.
Or some other kind of signal.
Specifically radio signals. I don't get why that's...
Which is a weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
too, because I have heard a theory that like that it's sort of strange that we're so focused on intelligent life, and what we mean by intelligent is like
us.
Like us. Things that send radio signals, because we send radio signals, right?
Yeah.
And that if elephants, you know, I don't know, ran the world, they'd be looking for other things with trunks, because
that's true. So they really like tapirs,
and be wondering, wondering like where all the other things with trunks are. Because...
I think life as we know it, like, yeah, maybe we're lucky, or maybe it is very common and just happened right when it's possible. However, intelligent life, I think that requires a lot of exacts, because life on Earth has lasted for a really, 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 really long time without intelligent life on it.
Yes.
Like, I think I've read that if you take the time of from the formation of Earth to now and condense it to a day, humanity doesn't evolve until like a couple seconds to midnight or something like that. So
I can't remember what the book is, but I have a book that has a fold-out page
yeah.
at the beginning that has like the time from the beginning, and humanity is way at the... They're like several pages that fold out.
Basically, so...
It's at the very, very end.
So, yeah, we could just be a fluke. It could just be...
It could.
Like, I think there probably is a lot of alien life out there, but none of them have gotten the fluke, or at least none of them we have seen. None of them have gotten the fluke of intelligence yet.
It's also just, you know, lots and lots and lots of space.
It is.
It goes on.
It's true.
Forever.
It's true.
And it takes a really long time.
Well, the one that blows my mind of how big space is, there's this one famous image that the Hubble Space Telescope took a picture of, where it's just a bunch of galaxies, like 27 galaxies that you can just see up front. There's probably way more, like maybe thousands in it somewhere there, just look like stars as it goes on. But this picture was taken in an area of the sky a quarter of the size of the moon.
Wow.
So imagine all those galaxies with all those stars just in that one image, and then stretch it to all over.
And still, it's a few stars, mostly void, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, 90% of stars are red dwarfs, which are difficult to have Earth-like planets on because they'd have to be tidally locked. Because they're so small and they emit so little light. In order for it to be an Earth-like temperature, to, you know, be in the Goldilocks zone, it'd have to be so close that it would have one side always facing the sun, the other side always facing away. And
I suppose that causes problems.
Well, it's just it's frozen on one end. You have one pole on the night side, and I guess life can kind of only live on the the equator. What's it called? The Terminator. The Terminator or something like that.
Okay.
It's like that's what's called on the moon, where it's like the light side versus the dark side. It's called
really?
the Terminator.
It's called the Terminator? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, cool. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, LUCA.
Anyway, LUCA, yes, last universal common ancestor.
I mean, that's basically all that we can say about LUCA with any certainty.
Right.
I mean, if you're interested, look at the Wikipedia article.
Right.
Yeah. This is a great podcast.
And we're glad LUCA exists.
Oh, yeah. So we get to rate 1 out of 65 million. Our definite ancestor.
It's cool, right? It's everybody's ancestor. Everybody.
Yeah, it's your ancestor. It's your dog's ancestor. It's your houseplant's ancestor.
Ant's ancestor. Right.
It's your fungus's ancestor.
Bacteria.
Yeah.
Everything. All life.
The mushrooms that you smoked's ancestor.
All life on Earth.
Yep. So 1 out of 65 million, or one. What? Rate it basically out of 65 million.
LUCA?
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean,
I'm gonna give it better than Dino Island.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were here on the Patreon. That was way earlier than this.
Okay.
But yeah, for more on that, you were on the Patreon where you reviewed Dino Island, but.
I mean, LUCA.
I'm gonna give it 65 million because without it we wouldn't exist. And I guess on its own, it's not. I don't know what it looks like.
Right.
It's probably just a little sludge.
It's tricky. I want to give it a high score.
But what would it lose points
I don't feel well. See, it doesn't seem fair to dock it points because we don't know what it is. That's our problem, not its. Right?
That's true.
So I'll give it 65 too. 65 million. Yay, LUCA.
Yay! Thank you, LUCA. You did good. You survived, and here we are.
all life on Earth. I mean, that's impressive. That deserves a high score.
Yeah, I think that anyways. Alright, well that's it for this week. If you want to get hold of the show, you can contact us, or contact me specifically at mattsd@matthewdoncareer.com. And you can find me on social media at MatthewDonCareer on Facebook, at MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. I also have another podcast called The Writ Wits, where two twits talk about writting, is what we call it.
Writting.
It's just a writing podcast to do with my friend. It's pretty good. Also, I have a book series on Amazon, Megazoic, a dinosaur sci-fi, available for print and Kindle if you're interested on Amazon. It's pretty good. You've read some of it, right?
Yes, I have. Yes. Only the first one, but I liked it.
Oh, yay! Good to hear. I'm glad you enjoyed what you've read of it so far.
Yes.
All right, well, that's
I
it.
plan to read it all.
All right, that's it for this week. Usually I'm like, as we say at the end of every episode of Paleo Bites, but then I do like a sound that the animal would make, but LUCA wouldn't make a sound.
It makes right.
Slop, slop. Yeah, just nothing. Here's the sound. That was LUCA, everyone. All right, bye.